Hey, good afternoon. This is Dano Tech 5. It's been a couple of years since I've made a repair video, and this is my 2011 Honda Pilot with the J 3.5 liter V6 engine. Some of my other repair videos, I have my F-150. I sold it and I bought this last year. It's been a really good vehicle. Got a really good deal on it, and I've had to do some things, brakes, tires, that type of thing. But all in all, been a very good vehicle. I am having some trouble with getting check engine light on the 420 and 430 codes for the catalyst efficiency. I'm not convinced. I've done some testing, and I'm not convinced that it's the catalytic converters at this point. I've replaced some oxygen sensors. I still get the code occasionally. But there is one thing I'd like to try, and that is to change the PCV valve. And this vehicle does have a PCV valve. Usually that's kind of old technology that you wouldn't think would be on some of these newer vehicles, but that's what it looks like. And there's a video, a couple videos on YouTube about the replacement of them, and a lot of times they break. So what I'd like to do is I'd like to try replacing this and maybe coming up with a tip on taking the PCV valve out and replacing it without breaking it. Let's see how successful I'm going to be. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and take this air intake off. Take these two clips out. Kind of doing this with one hand, but these are fairly easy to come out. They're just pins. And once these pins are out of the way, this air intake comes off. It should just slide out of there and set to the side. The location for the PCV valve is going to be down in here on this particular motor. Some of your Honda Odysseys and earlier Pilots, the PCV valve is over here. There are already other videos available on YouTube that talk about replacing, and they show replacing the PCV valve when it's up by the dipstick. This one is going to be way down in here. So we're going to take this engine cover off. It's got a couple of clips here. You just turn them 90 degrees like so, and that's the only two retainers that it has, and then you just lift up on this. It comes right off, so it's pretty easy and set up out of the way. I also recommend a couple things. I wouldn't try to change the PCV valve when the engine is cold. I've got this up to operating temperature. It does make it a little harder to work on because it's hot, and you know, you can obviously kind of scald your hand a little bit if you're not careful. But my rationale on that is that this part is plastic and it's got rubber O-rings, and especially if the engine is cold, the aluminum's cold, it may stick to these parts of the PCV valve, and it may make it harder for this to pull out. So I've got this up to operating temperature, not scalding hot. Today's about 50-60 degrees out. It's in December, and but I wanted to get it up to temperature, get the engine up temperature, so that things are a little looser. You know, trying to do it cold, I think it might allow it to break easier. So like I said, we're going to try it and see what happens. Okay, just so we're clear as to where the PCV valve is located, this is your oil cap, and this is a melt tab here for the retainer, and this is your wiring harness. And I would recommend taking this wiring harness out of the way so that you can access the bolt, which is up underneath here. Some videos on YouTube have said that you can take the PCV valve out without taking this harness out of the way. I wouldn't recommend that. I would recommend getting this out of the way, and we're going to see here in a minute why. Okay, in order for me to get the harness out of the way entirely to where I can get a straight-on shot on the PCV valve, this is the EGR, and this harness is a little bit tight. I have it cable tied because I have an SVCM. I've done away with the cylinder deactivation on this vehicle for the ECO. I highly recommend, if you haven't looked into getting an SVCM, do the research on that, because especially the number 3 cylinders on these, you start getting some miles on them. Number 3 cylinder can become damaged because of the cylinder deactivation, and I haven't really had any difficulties with higher gas consumption, not that I've noticed, and the vehicle has much better acceleration and throttle response as a result of having the SVCM. But there's been plenty put on the internet about this, so I recommend that you look into that, because that isn't what we're really going on about right now. So I need to basically take this out of the way. I'm going to cut this cable tie and unplug the EGR so I can get this harness moved over, and then we can get to the PCV valve. Okay. I was able to detach the EGR valve. I got, again, this loose bundle of wiring. I'll have to use cable ties on it to put it all back together later on. But it's very difficult to see. But there is the bolt for the PCV valve, and right next to it is the PCV valve, and there's the hole. So I'm going to take this 10mm bolt out, and being very careful not to lose the bushing, the metal bushing that holds the PCV valve down. So I'm going to take that out. There you go, and that's a fairly long bolt that comes out. I didn't have any trouble breaking that loose and turning it out by hand. Okay, what I have is a long screw. It's got some pretty aggressive threads on it, and I have it threaded down inside the hole on the PCV valve. Now, it is moving a little. The collar is moving back and forth, but I'm being very cautious not to break this plastic off inside of there. Where it's stuck is on these O-rings. Now, when we go to put this in, we gotta make sure that we, lube those O-rings up pretty good. And also, these PCV valves, if you change them every 25,000, this isn't a very big operation. If you would change them every 25, 30,000, it's good preventive maintenance, and also, you're not likely to break it. This one, for all I know, it could be the original. We're going to take a look at it when we get it out, but I'm just being real patient and cautious with getting this out. I'm going to try to pry on this and pull this way without trying to jerk it side to side. When you jerk it side to side, that's where it's going to fracture that collar. So I'm going to keep working at it and hope for the best here. Okay, I've worked it back and forth with the pliers, and I got this to where the collar is moving very easily. But I'm going to show you something you can try if you're really careful. It's actually going to work pretty good. This is a pair of vice grips. I'm going to put them over the bolt, and I'm going to put up against the head. And what I'm going to do is I'm doing this. It's making like a little slide hammer. And there she goes. It just popped loose. So there you go. I was able to pop it loose without breaking it. Again, I'm not entirely sure when this PCV valve was changed last. It may not have been done that far in the past. I have no way of knowing, but it seems like it's pretty loose now. I'm going to go ahead and take the bolt out, and then we'll see what we got. Oh, there's also a bushing, metal bushing. See that? In a lot of videos, people lose that, so you gotta be careful when you're taking that out. Make sure you don't drop it, because you're not likely to find another one off the auto parts store shelf. So you gotta be really careful to make sure you don't lose that. Okay, it slid right out, and now I'm going to show you why it's a good idea to change it every 20,000 miles. As you can see, look at the buildup on this thing. That is completely all coked up. It's got a bunch of sludge buildup in it. Some people have asked, can you clean them? I wouldn't clean them. Not for $18. You can get a Beck Arnley off the internet. Here's that. There's the collar that you need to be sure you don't lose that, because you're going to need that to put it back, the other one back in. Let me give you a Beck Arnley number. 0450358, and there you go. But I was able to take this out. Obviously it has been in there a long time, and I was able to get it out without breaking it. The keys again are: get the vehicle up to operating temperature, so get nice and hot, take the wiring harness out of the way so that you can get a straight on shot with it, get you a long screw that's got some aggressive threads, and you can take it and thread it down inside the PCV valve and twist it in there very carefully, work slowly. And this had a 13 millimeter, so I just turned it in until it started moving. I just moved it back and forth nice and slow, and then I just used my my vice grips as sort of like a small slide hammer, not too aggressive. I just tapped on that head like a slide hammer, and it popped right out. Again, patience is key. And if you change this thing every 25-30,000, you be sure you oil your O-rings on your new one. You're not going into this problem with them breaking off. But hopefully this has been a help to you. And if you like what you see here, you can subscribe. I'm going to be starting to post other videos of things that need to be repaired on vehicles, and hopefully they'll be a help to you. Thank you, and thanks for watching.